Good morning, Lufkin Central. My name is Jason Hollinger. I'm the preaching and community minister here. And as we kick off our week in another series of Jesus and Coffee morning devotionals, I want to take us to the New Testament book of Romans. Romans is a book written by Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ. You can hear a lot of Paul's story, his transition from Saul to Paul in the book of Acts, that as he was living as Saul, a man just devout believer in what he was doing in the cause of persecuting Christians, he met God along the way. He met Jesus along the way to go and persecute Christians and did an about face because he then began become one who was the most well-known missionary and the most decorated missionary, I guess you would say, in the history of Christianity. And what he ended up doing, not as he would say of his own power, of his own will, but by the power and will of God the Father, to do for the church. And again, you can read about that story throughout the book of Acts and then just his letters in general. But I want to take us to Romans chapter 1. In Romans chapter 1, and I want to begin it in verse 8. Romans was the destination that Paul wanted, where Paul wanted to be. Rome was a place that he wanted to visit, and that he wanted to disciple others and grow the kingdom. But when you read on through the book of Romans, you figure out that, man, it was a difficult destination for Paul nonetheless. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's read Romans chapter 1, starting in verse 8. First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for all of you, because your faith is being reported all over the world. God, whom I serve in my spirit in preaching the gospel of his Son, is my witness how constantly I remember you in my prayers at all times. And I pray that now, at last, by God's will, the way may be open for me to come to you. I long to see you, so that I may impart to you some spiritual gift to make you strong. That is, that you and I may be mutually encouraged by each other's faith. I do not want you to become unaware, brothers and sisters, that I planned many times to come to you, but have been prevented from doing so until now, in order that I might have a harvest among you, just as I have had among the other Gentiles. So as we kind of pause there for a moment, one of the things that we see is that Paul has this, man, just this affection for the Christians there in Rome, and so much to the point that he's telling others about them, telling them about their faith, that in the midst of a place not known for Christianity, right? Let's just be honest. And Paul has this desire to be there with them, that yes, he can encourage them, but they could encourage him, right? That he could encourage them and they could encourage him, and that he can maybe impart to them some spiritual gift that can strengthen them. Verse 14, Paul just really begins to bring it all together for what he means, why he wants to come to them. It's not just to be with them and to say, hey, I'm right here with you, let's do this together. He has a purpose for why he wants to come to them. I am obligated, and make no mistake, he said, just I've heard among other Gentiles. But he says, listen, I'm not just coming for you. I am obligated both to the Greeks and non-Greeks, both to the wise and the foolish. That is why I am so eager to preach the gospel also to you who are in Rome. And I love this, that he's not just saying, I want to come to you, those who I've experienced this joy of telling others about your faith all around the world. I want to see more of what you're doing, but saying along the way, I want you to understand as I'm heading that direction, I'm not coming just for you. God is not sending me there. God is not now allowing me to make my way there just for you. It's for all of creation, for the Greeks and the non-Greeks, as that's why I'm so eager to preach the gospel also to you who are in Rome. Verse 16, for I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes, first to the Jew, yes, then to the Gentile. For in the gospel the righteousness of God is revealed, a righteousness that is by faith from first to last, just as it is written, the righteous will live by faith. You see, we must not be ashamed. Get ready, because that's your challenge. We must not be ashamed of the gospel. We must not be ashamed of the salvation that we find in Jesus' name. We must not hide that reality that we have come to believe from others that we see every day. God did not just send us to encourage and to help Christians mature. God has sent us to grow other Christians and to lead them to a spiritual maturity. God has sent us to encourage one another, to build each other up. The question is, are we up to the challenge? Because not being ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ can sometimes put ourselves in some situations that are less desirable. Less desirable in the sense there will be those who will try to slander us, those who will try to tear us down, those who will try to end us, to stop us from doing what we're doing. We will experience persecution in so many different levels. There's so many different levels of persecution. We will experience it in some way when we live an unashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ lifestyle. But when we are eager, when we are unashamed, when we are obligated, what we realize is God is right there with us. What we realize is that we have what it takes. We have the strength to sustain the weapons of the evil one. Because greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world. Are you up to the challenge? Will you live obligated? Will you live eager? Will you live unashamed? No one can force you to it. It's up to you to choose it. Are you ready? Can't wait to hear about it. God bless.